Good afternoon, folks. This video is going to be somewhat of a public service announcement or homage, ode to one Archie Luxury, who has been going through a bit of a crisis of late. One of many, really. I've watched quite a few of his videos, mainly in the last year or two, but they go back about 5 years, and he's definitely had what seems to be a cyclical process of getting to a point of what seems to be a nervous breakdown almost. I take a little sip of coffee. It's 3:12 in the afternoon, so perhaps I should not be drinking coffee anymore. A friend of mine, who I think you could say is an alcoholic, he kind of jokingly said, well, what's that range of time between when you're drinking coffee and then you're drinking booze? Like, what do you, it's this weird little time in the afternoon, like, what do you drink at that point? And he's like, is that when you drink water? So, yeah, that's his perspective and not necessarily a healthy one. Anyways, so Archie has been, I would speak directly to you, Archie, but I don't know if you're going to watch this. I'm going to talk about you in the third person. Archie, as you do, actually, so it's nothing new. Archie has been posting a bunch of videos that kind of broke from his normal routine of, look at me, fuckers, my fuck off timepiece, and he did actually a great video on the end of materialism, and he was definitely expressing some views that are counter to kind of the modus operandi of his website. Let me get up some of the titles of some of his most recent videos. Let's see here. Bear with me for a moment. All right. Archie Luxury. So he had one, Enough is Enough, the Emptiness of Materialism. Useless Luxury, the luxury goods that do nothing for you. And then he has one called Doctor's Orders, Archie Luxury Needs a Break. And in that video, he said that he went to the doctor for his cough, which a lot of the people have been commenting on, saying, get that, the usual jokes of like, what did you pick up from Bangkok, that sort of thing. But the doctor evidently said that the cough is from stress. And Archie said that he is getting up in the morning, 7:38, going into his studio, and then creating videos and coming out at 10:30 at night. And he posts a lot of videos, but not so much that you'd think that he's in there for 15 hours a day making videos. I've been doing this for a little over a week, and I've been creating several videos a day. And they're not planned, they're not scripted. I just kind of talk. And I think Archie does that, but he puts obviously more time and production value and so forth into his work. Mine's very casual, but I could do 3 videos, and they, including upload times and everything, it's like an hour. It's an hour of time, and most of it I'm just talking, like right now. So I don't know what he's doing. Even if he's like producing it, I think he's researching on the internet. I think he's searching for articles. I don't know exactly what he's doing, but he's spending a lot of time on his videos. And so clearly, finding balance is really, really huge. And I know that he was doing his walks for a while, and that's really a good thing. And doing that every day. I mean, I'm giving advice that I need to hear myself. I've been really, really busy of late too, and actually things are shifting for me in the next couple of weeks, hopefully. I am. I can go into this in another video. It's not really the time and place, but I am shifting my career. I'm a teacher right now. I teach at a private high school, and I also do student counseling, and I'm going more in that domain of counseling. I'm finishing up a master's degree in clinical mental health counseling, and yeah, that's the direction I'm moving in. I'm also hopefully at some point I'd like to publish some writing. I when I get a chance, I do fiction writing, science fiction and fantasy, actually. So yeah, back to Archie. So my point was just simply that little tangent was that I've been living in very unbalanced lifestyle. You know, I especially over the last 6 months or so when I've been focusing on my thesis, which I'm actually procrastinating right now. And I get it. I totally get how hard it is to just have that basic rhythm and balance in your life. But I also get how when I do exercise, when I do go for walks, when I do yoga, and when I do meditation, it just has a huge impact on me. Both on my mood, just my general sense of well-being, my energy level, just everything. A 40-minute walk, you know, every day or 4 or 5 times a week is just huge. It's huge. I start losing weight just going on, you know, a walk 5 days a week. Yeah, it can't be understated the importance of these basic things like exercise. I put meditation in there because I think meditation is something really, really huge, and that the mainstream is sort of adopting more and more. You hear the mindfulness catchphrase. Big businesses are teaching employees how to do mindfulness meditation because they find that it helps them focus, relax a little bit, not stress so much, that sort of thing. So that I think is really, really huge. Yoga. I have kind of an off and on relationship with yoga. You know, you don't have to be into the whole spiritual trippiness of it, but there, as far as like an integrated physical exercise, yoga is almost without peer. It's just, you know, it doesn't emphasize like the building of muscle mass as much, although some yogas, power yoga, that's how it's conventionally called, Ashtanga yoga, it can be quite strenuous. But what it does is it almost wrings out your body. I always feel like doing yoga is sort of like, it's like taking a wet washcloth and you're just twisting it. And that's your body in yoga, and you're just twisting out all the kinks. And I feel like my posture, my back, my whole, just being in my body feels better after doing yoga. And if you develop it over time, it has a big impact on your life, and it also helps with stress. And combining yoga and meditation can be really, really powerful. So that's sort of like practical stuff, and I'm just throwing these ideas out there for hopefully Archie to consider. You know, any variation of you know, simple exercises, but there's a bigger picture, and this is sort of what I think is more important. And the bigger picture, you really touch upon it in some of your posts, Archie, where you're talking about the emptiness of materialism. And listen, I started a YouTube channel to talk about watches. There are other interests I have, some of which are more important to me. My writing certainly is more important to me. I have other aspects of my life, my work related to counseling. You know, those are really more important. This is a hobby. This is sort of an outlet. This is sort of like relaxation, fun, talking about watches. I don't really have any outlet for that. Certainly don't want to talk to my wife about watches, and she doesn't really want to hear it. I don't have any friends that talk about watches. Joining this community has been a fun thing to do. But that's the thing. It's meant to be fun. You know, it's meant to be fun. And I think what has happened, if I may be so bold, is you've sort of cornered yourself into putting so much of your sense of well-being, so much of your sense of esteem, self-esteem, happiness, what have you, into luxury goods, into watches, into materialism. I know this is unsolicited, semi-professional, psychotherapeutic advice, but I'm just throwing some ideas out there based upon the videos I've seen. And yes, materialism is completely empty. It's ridiculous. You know, the amount of money and time that we spend on watches and or whatever your specific thing is. You know, it's totally ridiculous, and you know, but here's the key. This is where I feel like a shift can occur, because there's nothing wrong with being into watches. There's nothing wrong with being into luxury goods. There's nothing wrong with embracing materialism, embracing the material world. But the problem is that when we put ourselves into it, we put our hopes or sense of fulfillment or sense of self into those things. And the thing is that none of that lasts. It's all temporary, and none of it is ultimately satisfying. And as long as you're trying to make these things ultimately satisfying, you're going to be disappointed, you're going to feel empty, you're going to feel lacking and miserable. So this thing right here, I love this watch. It's this beautiful adornment. You might call it dog shit, Archie, and that's fine. You have that right. Just as I have the right to enjoy this and feel that it's not dog shit, because it's not. This is a beautiful thing, and I love it. I enjoy it. I love looking at it. I love having it on my wrist. I cherish it. I hope to have this for years to come. But it's just a thing. It's just a thing, and it's not going to satisfy the deepest aspects of myself. It's not going to do that. And as long as you're trying to use luxury goods to fill the void, then it won't work, and you'll get miserable. You know. So the question then comes is like, well, what is satisfying? What actually fills the void? And you know, there's a lot of things. I think in the end nothing does. Not even the most profound love relationship, the most incredible sexual experience, the fulfillment of a hope or a dream. Nothing will ever fully satisfy you. But we can develop a deeper sense of well-being, a deeper sense of like wellness, of being alive. And then all of these things that we try to satisfy ourselves with, all of them become play. They become areas of enjoyment. They become like hanging out with your friends and enjoying conversation and not needing that conversation to be anything other than just the enjoyment of the moment. Just the enjoyment of the moment of the watch, this beautiful, beautiful thing that humans have created. I mean, it's so cool that we've created these, and I think this is all people, and it's really a male thing for the most part, although if there are any women watching, I don't want to exclude you. I just think that this is sort of a bit of a male fixation. We all, on some level, we really cherish that quality of timekeeping and what it means, that you can relate to the world. It's this really interesting thing. You know, if you think about like what humans have created over thousands and thousands of years. I mean, we've been there's different dates as to when civilization began, but certainly what we call history is traditionally thought to have begun about 5,500 years ago, 6,000 years ago, with the dawn of Sumer in Egypt, the earliest Chinese and Indian civilizations. But you can go further back to the Neolithic Revolution, around 10,000 BCE. You can go even further and further back, right? There's these different... But in the last few thousand years, we've created these amazing things. We've created watches, we've created violins, we've created the Great Pyramids, we've created skyscrapers. We've done terrible things as well. But it's just this ongoing, really awesome experiment that the world has churned out called human beings. And we're here, in my opinion, to just be part of the process, to enjoy it, to be like, wow, it's really cool that I get to be Jonny Casual. You know, no one else is Jonny Casual. No one else is Archie Luxury, that's for sure, right? I'm really glad that you're out there, Archie. I'm really glad you provide a lot of entertainment for myself and for others. And I can tell you we're both laughing at you and with you. And I mean that in a friendly, kind manner. But you're an entertainer, and you do provide people with a lot of pleasure. You have, I think, 15,000 subscribers, and probably, I watch a lot of your videos before I even subscribe, so you probably have more people watching than that, you know? Although, here's a weird thought. Just think of how many, there's probably people that are dead that are subscribed to you. That they subscribed to you like 2 years ago, and then they had a heart attack, and their YouTube channel still up. It's a weird thing about the internet. So yeah, I've rambled, I've gone on about a few different things, but I think really the heart of what I'm trying to get at is that, you know, we can't fill the void with things. We can't satisfy ourselves with luxury goods or anything, whether it's vacations in Bangkok. You know, I don't even want to know what you do in Bangkok, Archie, but I know you've implied a lot of what you do. And I'm sure you know that it's a lot of fun while you're doing it, but in the end, it doesn't last. It doesn't really ultimately satisfy, and it doesn't need to, and that's the point. But there are things, and this is what I was getting at before, but I didn't quite get to. Even though nothing ultimately satisfies, there are some things that satisfy in a deeper way. And I think certainly I found that with watches, that some of the more classic pieces, like this Omega Seamaster versus some of the more, you know, the fashion type watches, they have a longer lasting satisfaction. You know, it's like having a good, healthy, organic home cooked meal is more satisfying than a bunch of junk food. And I think life experiences, what we put our energy to, is like that as well. One of the most deeply satisfying things for me is to make a meal for my daughters, to just make them a really nice breakfast, and to have them, they sit there at the counter and they just chat about whatever they want to chat about. And sometimes I'm kind of distracted and not paying attention, but every once in a while I'll look over and I'll just like really see them. And I'm just blown away at how like amazing it is to be their father, and how I cherish that so much, you know. Another thing that's really deeply satisfying for me is writing, being creative, creating imaginary worlds of kind of heroic characters, villainous characters, and stories in that world that are just inspiring and get my imagination flowing. That's deeply satisfying. Working with people in my counseling, you know, like helping, mainly I work with teenagers right now, you know, helping them get a sense that they are okay, that whatever their problems are, that they can walk in this world and not be like totally overwhelmed with it, you know. And it's not that I don't enjoy this. I mean, I clearly do, but it's that I'm not putting, or I'm trying not to put, misplaced energy and focus on my pseudo or basic or entry-level luxury goods. That I'm just enjoying them for their baubles, their toys. They're a lot of fun, but that's all they need to be. So I've gone on for perhaps too long, and I'm going to leave it at that for now, and hope something in this, Archie in particular, will find of worth. All right, later.